we have a hiring criteria that's specific around customer service. So yes, knowing how to fix the IT problem is important, but also knowing how to work with people, especially when they're frustrated, is something that we've prioritized far ahead.
Welcome back to the Rocc Pod. I'm John Gay from Jag and Detroit Podcasts.
I'm Lisa Bibby with Century 21 Northland.
And today we have with us Alex Bartell from Cinch I.T, new chamber member. Excited to get to know him and his story. Welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Lisa. Appreciate it.
All right. Before we start, we always ask guests for icebreakers, and you told us that you are great at impressions. If you have one go-to impression, what is it?
I do. I actually have quite a few impressions. I actually do it for people that I'm talking to. So John and Lisa, I could do one for you, but I try to actually keep them in person. I know that's going to be the worst cliffhanger, but maybe it could be a teaser for when I see people at Rocc in person. Okay,
so duly noted. If you run into Alex at an event, of which he's been to many since joining the chamber, we'll come back to that as well, ask him to do an in-person impression. Any celebrities or anything you can do for us now or anything like that?
No, I usually do people that I meet, and because I feel like that resonates far more.
So how does this work? Like, you're observing like our body language over video right now, and our diction and like tone and cadence and how we speak and all that?
Correct. Yeah. Like, I will basically imitate you like right then and there. And like, usually I have a few people around me. So it's probably like, hey, John, how's it going? Handshake. We talk for a few seconds, and then they like, go, like try to talk about anything but work. And I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty good with impressions. And they go, really? Right. 4 people come over and like, all right, let's hear it. And so I'll ask John, John, tell me what you had for breakfast. And then like John will start to tell me, and then like I'll immediately go right into it.
I'm looking for a clone. So are you for hire?
I can probably do it for audio. Yeah.
You can answer calls from Lisa's clients. And when things get a little bit busy, you can be her mini-me? I don't know what the rephrase would even be there.
It's a body. I need a body double. I have like too many things going on at the same time.
He can be your phone body double, Lisa. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we'll have to see how good you are.
Yeah, I promise. It's fun. Some of my longtime friends and my girlfriend and her family think it's the craziest, best thing. So we'll see.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, I can't wait to meet you in person where we can see this in action. So I recently was on vacation and took a ferry to a small island and heard that you actually went on a ferry by accident going over to Canada. So please do tell, like, what was that experience like?
Yes. Thank you for bringing that up, Lisa. It's so funny. It was a while ago. I don't know, 2017 maybe. Google Maps was becoming like far more dependable over like the hardcore Garmin. And I was like, great, I'm going to Canada for the first time with a partner at the time, just punched in like where we were going and took off. And I didn't think about it because we were talking the whole time, having a blast. And the next thing I know, we're like up by Marine City. And my partner goes, hey, when people go to Canada, don't they like normally cross a bridge? And we're pulling up down this like dirt rocky road, and then it leads to the water. And there's literally a guy standing there dressed like the fish stick guy. Who was that? With
the Gordon's fisherman?
Yeah, looks just like him. And I was like, oh my gosh, where did I take us? So I pull up, and this guy literally says that'll be $10 or something like that. Like, it was a cash transaction. And I go to hand him a 20 in US, and he goes, no Canadian. And I go, I don't know what I'm doing. And he goes, whatever, takes the 20, doesn't give me any change, and then just says, drive up the boat. And I'm looking at my partner like, where are we going? And so we get on this boat. Some people walk on foot. And next thing I know, we're just crossing water, like in my car. And then we end up somewhere in Canada. And that was a thing.
So there was like a border region, or just kind of sketchy, like, I'm just going to sneak into the
fisherman.
country?
He was collecting money so he could go get some minnows. He took your money and you got your car on the ferry.
On the US side, there was no agent or verification. There was literally like a guy and people, and they were just taking us over. But then when we got to the Canadian side, there were agents there, and they were like, yeah, what's your purpose here? And I was like, I don't know, a good time. And then they were like, got it, pleasure. And they're like asking for passports and these other things. And I literally had no idea what I was doing. And they're like, yeah, this isn't the fastest way to get to Toronto, but welcome. Enjoy the farmland.
You're in Canada.
Yeah.
Here's hoping you crossed an actual legit border crossing on your way back into the States.
We actually, we took the same way back, saw the same agent. She was very kind. And she was like, hope you had a great experience. And yeah, it was
And
cool.
the Gorton's fisherman took you back?
No, there wasn't a Gordon's fisherman on the way back. There was a regular person.
I love that story. It sounds like a fun adventure.
I am
was.
never walking down the frozen food aisle at Kroger the same way ever again. Okay, so we are going to get to all the services that Cinch I.T offers here in a moment, Alex, but I think this is interesting. Cinch I.T actually is a franchise. So when did you become a franchisee, and what led you to decide to go that route as opposed to starting your own small business?
Yeah, great question, John. So just to back up even further a little bit. So yes, we are a franchise. And my partner, Josh Fett, awesome dude. He started the franchise about 2.5, 3 years ago himself. He had a couple sales guys on his team, didn't pan out in the way that he wanted. And then he met me a year ago at a networking event and was like, dang, I need that guy on my team. And he actually made me an offer on the spot. And I laughed and said, that's irresponsible. Let's talk again over a drink, because that's much more responsible.
Sounds much more responsible.
Yeah, exactly. That didn't happen for a while, but fast forward a year when I finished where I was working at the time. And he was like, yo, dude, I see you're on the market. Do you want to have that conversation? I go, yeah. We met up at a place in Troy called CJ Mahoney's. But yeah, we took a look at his business plan, and I was like, dude, you have everything locked down in terms of IT, but you have like zero business strategy. So you don't need a sales guy or a sales team, or maybe not yet, but you actually need a partner. And I wasn't trying to highlight myself there, but I was just like, I think we were like 2-3 drinks in, and I was like, look, that's what you need to take care of. Find somebody to take care of that for you. And he was like, would you be open to that? And so since then, we've taken steps forward for that.
So are you more the business operations side and he's more the IT side? Is that how it's set up?
Correct. Yes.
Nice. So there's a lot of IT services out there. And if I'm interviewing several companies to handle my IT, why should I choose you guys?
Sure. Great question, Lisa. I think there's a few reasons why you would choose Cinch I.T over our many competitors. And there's awesome competitors out there. I've definitely taken my time to get to know some of them. Some of them definitely more friendly than others, but I get it, competition. But why Cinch I.T stands out, or how we do, I should say. First thing that end users or clients like to hear is usually related to speed and quality. When you pick up the phone and you're like frustrated with your IT situations, John or Lisa, you're probably just trying to get whatever resolved, right? We have a hiring criteria that's specific around customer service. So yes, knowing how to fix the IT problem is important, but also knowing how to work with people, especially when they're frustrated, is something that we've prioritized far ahead. The franchise started back in 2004, and it was started by some people that actually really understood that, right? They worked as IT people, and they were like, gosh, it's so annoying to try to fix a situation and not get effective support, or just someone that can actually talk to me in plain English about my IT situation. So from a customer service standpoint, we like to highlight that exactly. We hire regular people, and then we teach them IT stuff.
It's not just about the IT, but I think you hit the nail on the head. You have to be able to communicate people when they are stressed out. And as a realtor, I know about this very well. But there's actually, the way your brain works, different people handle stress differently. So being able to communicate and understand how to calm a situation down, but also make sure that they feel heard and relevant, and that you guys are going to have a solution for them at the end of the day, I think goes miles.
Yes, and it served us very well. And that's just the first layer. I mean, there's 2 major points beyond that get into the more technical aspects of IT and how we're actually better on the racetrack, if that's a good analogy. Mm-hmm. But the second is speed. So I like to ask this question often when I talk to prospects or just people in my network when they want to understand IT better. And I say, let's go with John first. Hey, John, when you submit an IT ticket, what do you think is a good fast time for you to get a response from an IT company?
I would say, depending on the urgency, at least within 24 hours. But if it's urgent, probably maybe an hour, 2. I don't know.
Nice.
I want it instantly.
I was trying to avoid that answer. Yeah.
No, that's okay. So I always try to put it into perspective, right? And that's a great answer, John. It varies per industry. I actually work with a lot of manufacturing companies, and when I ask that question, like, what's a good fast time? They'll be like, I don't know, 2-4 days. And I go, that's crazy, because industry average fast time is 4 hours for a response for a ticket. Cinch I.T, 11 minutes flat, 3 years trending.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a very hard thing to keep up on, but that's something that we prioritize. Like Lisa was saying, I want it now. And that's how we're working towards now.
Most people want it now. They just may not be able to vocalize it and they may not realize that they want it now. But if you don't get answers right away in today's world, you're moving on. You're calling somebody else, you're going somewhere else. So, yeah, how quickly you can reply is key.
For sure.
And I want to go back to something you said a moment ago, Alex, which is you can teach somebody IT. You can't necessarily teach them the soft skills. Either they have that or they don't, which is why I love what you're saying about finding the people that can handle the customer service piece of it and deal with, like to Lisa's point, very frustrated people when they're having an IT issue. But then, and then you can worry about the technical stuff. You'll teach them how to do that stuff. That's easily teachable.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly like our criteria is that, look, we can teach you how to bake the cake, but if you can't turn around and sell it or handle the people that want it, like the bride and groom per se, like it's part of the process.
Do you have an ideal client, Alex?
Yeah. So right now our ICP or ideal client profile is from 10 to 100 employees. The reason why we've targeted that is because we try to stay in our small to medium-sized business lane, typically below 10. They'll probably use a managed service provider like us, but they probably need somebody that does like hourly work, like ticky-tacky things, and that's fine for them. But in the 10 to 100 range, we've built our model to be more of a monthly recurring revenue, so like Netflix, and we try to keep IT very simple. So when we step in, whether it's a co-managed service working with IT departments that already exist, or if we act as the entire IT department, we just try to keep billing very easily. So when John and Lisa, who don't oversee IT, are just like, nope, Alex has it. He's got it. Cool. Then over 100, usually by then, John and Lisa can afford their own IT department that can handle most, if not all things.
So do you help businesses scale, especially those smaller businesses that are, say, in the 10 to 20 employee range? Because as their businesses grow, so do their tech needs.
Yes. Great question, Lisa. Absolutely. Yeah, so one of our 4 pillars of how we conduct business and operate as Cinch I.T within your business is the consulting factor. So Lisa, when you have a business of 10 employees and most businesses are trying to grow in some capacity, others have already identified, nope, I'm good with 30 employees. That consulting piece, we're trying to align your IT plan with your business plan. Mm-hmm. So we do quarterly business reviews. We sit down and we say, hey, how do you like your current IT? How do you want it to adjust with you? Because if you plan to move or grow, you're right, Lisa, we need to be comprehensive about getting you the new tech that you need, whether it's more hardware, more cloud space. Yes, scaling is definitely something that we consider.
You talked about, growing your clients. I'll have to ask you about Cinch I.T as well. Do you have any specific goals for your company for 2025?
Yes, I do. Crazy ambitious goal for 2025. We're trying to build our book in a very significant way. So I'm trying to actually bring on about 560 users, not to be exact, but
that's an oddly specific number to not be exact.
I know, right? No, it's supposed to be a funny. So it's a very audacious goal for us, but that's where I want to grow our book this year. When we build those rev targets, we'll be able to grow our team and likely expand.
Well, that sounds exciting, like big plans for 2025. And John and I are both huge fans of the Royal Oak Chamber. So we wanted to touch base because we hear you're a newer chamber member, but how has your experience been since joining?
It's been fantastic. So I joined in mid-November last year, and I've had an excellent experience. I've heard great things coming in. And is it okay if I do a few selfish plugs?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So I was like big into the networking game few years ago, and then I started coming back to the chambers with Cinch I.T. And when I came to Royal Oak, I was like, oh yeah, I remember a lot of people talking very positively, and I started catching up with some of those people. Michelle Rafalski.
She's the best.
Love her.
Yes. We were in some groups prior to my joining, and I was like, Michelle, I know you have a baby. I know you're doing mom things, but is this still a cool spot to be? And she was like, yeah, duh. Reach out to Christine. Go. So I joined in November, and I hit the ground running just with the support of Christine, Shelly, just really kind of pointing out like, hey, these are how you're going to maximize your experience. So here I am on the podcast. I've also joined a few of the other events such as Royal, which is the young professional group. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Nick and Jamie who are chairing that, doing a fantastic job. And then also the N1 series led by Michelle and Jill. have had a great time so far.
And we're going to have the folks running the Young Professionals group on a future episode of the podcast, hopefully here in 2025 as well.
Well, we're so glad you're a member. And we absolutely just love everybody who's involved with the chamber. It's the people who really make this group special.
Alex, we're going to change things up on you here a little bit. We ask a totally random question toward the ends of our podcast. We call it our fishbowl question of the day. Lisa, would you please draw today's fishbowl question of the day?
So, Alex, what is something that you learned in the last week?
In the last week, Jalen Hurts for the Philadelphia Eagles, who just won the Super Bowl, is 26 years old. I did not know that.
That's crazy young.
Jalen, if you ever hear this, don't know if you would, but I thought you were like 35 and you were 26.
Hey, man, I thought you were 10 years older than you actually are. And for context, we're recording this on February 10th, the morning after the Super Bowl. So that's why it's top of mind for Alex.
And you thought he was 10 years older because of his skill level, correct?
Yeah, skill level, maturity on the mic. Yeah, I would say that. Yeah.
Well, speaking of on the mic, I'm a native Patriots fan, and I should point out the only time Patrick Mahomes loses is when Tom Brady is in the building.
Facts. And he was a main commentator that night. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, Alex, if somebody wants to come work with you and the team at Cinch I.T, what are the best ways to find you?
On LinkedIn, you can definitely follow us there. You can feel free to connect with me. I'm a big networker and love to talk to people, learn about how I can help, not just from a Cinch I.T perspective, but also a networking perspective. If you want to reach out to me directly, you can at alex.bartell, Bartell, at cinch, CINCHIT.com.
Well, it was a pleasure getting to know you, Alex, and I can't wait to hear your impersonations when we meet in person. My name is Lisa Bibby. I'm a realtor with Century 21 Northland. I put the real back in realtor. We want you to love where you live. Questions about buying or selling your home? Call my cell 248-981-3610. My website is soldbylisab.com, and you can find me on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram at Sold by Lisa B. Let's connect.
I'm John Gay from Jag in Detroit Podcast. I'm the podcast guy. If you have any questions at all about podcasts or still have that nagging New Year's resolution to start a podcast, come talk to me. You can find me on my website, jagindetroit.com, or on social at jagindetroit. You can even call me, 313-757-2JAG. We want to thank you for listening to this episode of The Rocc Pod. It's produced for the Royal Oak, Michigan Chamber of Commerce. To find more about events and all the wonderful things that Alex is learning about the Royal Oak Chamber of Commerce, you can go online to royaloakchamber.com. Thanks, everyone.